All right, last night, right here on this program, we did something you don't often see from so-called journalists. Yeah, we actually broke news. Now, our lengthy interview with Rudy Giuliani covered a wide range of topics. It unearthed a lot of important insight into the Trump legal team, including this moment when the former New York City mayor, now President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, called out Robert Mueller's pathetic witch hunt. Take a look. The president's right when he says witch hunt?
Yeah, sure. You can't explain this any other way. First of all, there never should have been an investigation. There was no Russian collusion. We're now a year and a half, 2 years into this no Russian collusion, case over. In falling all over themselves to investigate him, they have committed numerous violations.
Now, Giuliani did not stop there. He also slammed the special counsel's questions to President Trump, you know, the ones recently leaked to the fake news New York Times. Take a look at this.
When you look at those questions about what does the president think, what does the president feel, what does the president really desire, those are all questions intended to trap him in some way in contradicting what is, in fact, a very, very solid explanation of what happened.
Now, the former mayor is absolutely right. And breaking tonight, while Robert Mueller sets a perjury trap for President Trump, the special counsel has filed a request for 70 blank subpoenas in the case of Paul Manafort. In other words, Mueller now has the power to subpoena dozens of Americans so long as he writes a name on the paper before he serves the documents. Wow, this is interesting. We'll analyze all of that, what is seemingly an aggressive legal tactic and one that we would expect from him. But first, more news from my sit-down with the former mayor, including these comments that he made, the media paid little attention to, pay attention now, about Hillary Clinton. Take a look.
13 crimes she committed, and we got up to about 18. I'm sorry, Hillary. I know you're very disappointed you didn't win, but you're a criminal. Equal justice would mean you should go to jail. I do not know why the Justice Department is not investigating you.
Equal justice would mean Hillary goes to jail. Now, Giuliani also took on the disgraced former FBI Director James Comey. Let's watch this.
You have an investigation in which Mueller is selected the day after he's turned down for FBI Director by Rosenstein, who was there when Mueller was turned down. There are thousands of people that could have been selected for that job. Also a friend of James Comey, and James Comey seems to be their core of their investigation. He's telling the truth, the president isn't. I know James Comey, I know the president. Sorry, Jim, you're a liar, a disgraceful liar. Every FBI agent in America has his head down because of you.
A disgraceful liar. Now, the former mayor also slammed the FBI's handling of the Michael Cohen investigation. Take a look at this.
The $130,000 payment,
right.
The settlement payment, which is a very regular thing for lawyers to do. The question there was, the only possible violation there would be, was it a campaign finance violation, which usually would result in a fine, by the way, not this big stormtroopers coming in and breaking down his apartment and breaking down his office.
All right, let's take a step back. If you can believe it, all the news we just laid out for you, all those crucial developments that you just watched, that we aired last night live on this program, were largely ignored by the abusively biased news media in this country. Instead, for 24 hours, these lazy, these abusively biased, echo chamber people in the fake news, overpaid media have been erupting over only one 30-second clip again and again and again. Take a look.
Having something to do with paying some Stormy Daniels woman $130,000, I mean, which is going to turn out to be perfectly legal. That money was not campaign money. Sorry, I'm giving you a fact now that you don't know. It's not campaign money. No campaign finance violation. So
they funneled it through the law firm.
Funneled through the law firm, and the president repaid it.
Now, as usual, the media's analysis, their interpretation is all wrong. Now, this doesn't change the fact that President Trump did not initially know about the payment, or that the purpose of the payment, that he didn't know initially until a long time after the transaction took place. It doesn't change the fact that Michael Cohen took this action to benefit the company that he served as vice president and attorney for. Now, let's help the media follow the bouncing ball. Pay close attention so you can keep up. Now, in January, the Wall Street Journal, they first reported about the Cohen payment to Stormy Daniels, which we know happened in October before the election. Then in February, in an interview with the New York Times, Michael Cohen denied that neither the Trump campaign nor the Trump organization had reimbursed him, meaning Michael Cohen. He had said he used his own money, clearly leaving open the possibility that the president himself, then president-elect at the time, might have reimbursed him from personal funds. Now, on April 1st, President Trump, well, he said this aboard Air Force One. Take a look.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
And I meant when he's president. Now, the president, he obviously knew about the story at this time. It had been so widely reported since January. What he was saying is he didn't know about the payment prior to the story being covered. Now, of course, this did not stop the mainstream media and their hysteria from reaching yet another fever pitch, like the Russia story that they have no evidence on. Take a look.
Good evening, Rachel, and I have to confess I did not watch all of your show tonight because Rudy Giuliani went on the other network, went on Fox News, and he stayed on longer than he should have because that's when he got to the Stormy Daniels admission, which is gigantic, which is blockbuster.
They thought he could be someone out there publicly defending the president and also someone who would take a harder line when it came to the Mueller investigation, but he seems to have just created another mess.
There seems to be a basic assumption that Rudy Giuliani had a strategy of some sort at all, and I just remain unconvinced at this point that that's the case.
If Rudy Giuliani had been, let's say, counsel for IBM, and delivered a performance that undercut IBM like he did last night for the President of the United States, he'd be fired the next morning.
In many ways, you know, the hero of 9/11 is almost being forgotten. He's severely damaged his legacy.
What do you make of Giuliani's legal strategy here?
Well, I liken it to a murder-suicide. He metaphorically murdered the president and committed suicide with respect to his own reputation.
The 24-hour nonstop coverage was so constant, so obsessive, so outrageous. Well, it's actually almost funny, except it's too serious. But take a look.
We'll begin with that stunning revelation from President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Last night, telling Fox News that Trump reimbursed his fixer, Michael Cohen.
This was a stunning admission that Giuliani overnight says was approved by his boss, the president, offering a completely contradictory account about that payment to Stormy Daniels.
After saying he did not know anything about the hush money payments to an adult film actress who said they had sex, now he says he reimbursed his lawyer for making those payments.
Startling admission by Rudy Giuliani leaves President Trump facing new legal questions this morning about whether he knew about an attempt to silence Stormy Daniels.
How many times have I said journalism in America is dead? It's almost unbelievable, but it's all too predictable. The media just cannot stop playing this show, meaning Hannity, and the interviews that we conduct. It seems like they're featuring me more than their own hosts. Now, I'm beginning to think at this point, maybe I need to start collecting a paycheck from ABC, CBS, NBC, fake news CNN, and the conspiracy theory network MSNBC. And you know what? Because I'm providing the real news that they rarely make on their own. Now, let's turn to even more fake news. Earlier today, and this is serious, NBC broke a big story, a serious story about Michael Cohen. Okay, according to the original report, Cohen had been wiretapped weeks before the FBI raided his home and office and his hotel room. And there was even more damning developments from NBC News. Take a look at their report.
This wiretap occurred several weeks before the now public search warrant that was executed here in New York several weeks ago. In addition to that, we've learned that at least one phone call conversation between a line belonging to Michael Cohen and the White House was also intercepted. We know from court papers, federal prosecutors have already said that they conducted covert surveillance of Michael Cohen's emails leading up to the search warrant being executed. So this is a lot more than just knocking on the door and asking for some documents.
And now we're learning that a major component of this report was once again fake news. Now, NBC was forced to issue a, quote, correction that reads in part, quote, 3 senior U.S. officials now dispute the wiretapping, saying that the monitoring of Cohen's phones was limited to a log of calls known as a pen register, not a wiretap where investigators can actually listen to the calls. Yet again, fake news from NBC. Now, while the media is busy reporting all the fake news about Michael Cohen and spinning in circles over a small, tiny portion of my 40-minute interview with Rudy Giuliani, well, we have actual news about the lives of 3 of our fellow Americans long held hostage by North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, in other words, Little Rocket Man. President Trump is currently working on their release and is hinting of some very hopeful news on Twitter. He wrote, as everybody's aware, the past administration has long been asking for 3 hostages to be released from a North Korean labor camp, but to no avail. Stay tuned. Now, this is just one new positive development from the Korean Peninsula that is seeing now tremendous progress under our new president. Now, let's break this down. 3 American lives are at stake. Your mainstream media is yawning, paying very little attention. Kim Jong-un is making unprecedented concessions. The mainstream media is yawning. We're talking about denuclearization of the entire Korean Peninsula. We have historically low unemployment now in 14 states, record lows. The media yawns. Americans receiving unemployment is the lowest since 1973. The media could care less. African-American unemployment, Hispanic unemployment, women in the workforce unemployment, 17-year lows, record lows. The media could care less. Do you need any more proof that the news media in this country does not care about the truth, about doing their job, about you? They care about their liberal, left-wing, pathetic agenda. And they're like one big, huge, massive echo chamber with a bunch of overpaid, spoiled brat anchors that don't do their job.